Welcome to Yoga with Kaila. Let's relax and move our body with our breath. If you are loving these videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Hello and welcome to Chair Yoga with Kaila. So today we're going to work on releasing through our hips and our lower body, as well as through our shoulders. It's going to be a great practice. I can't wait to get started. So to start, you want to make sure that you have a sturdy chair that's not rocking side to side and that you are able to sit towards the edge of the chair. We don't want to be slumped back, so making sure that we're sitting up nice and tall. We're going to sit up tall through our heart center, drawing that sternum or breastbone up high towards the sky. So we're using our abdomen to sit up tall in our chair. Our hands are going to begin flat onto our thighs, shoulders rolled down and back. We're just going to start here and begin to bring some awareness to our breath. So feeling the inhales and the exhales of our breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And so we're not controlling our breath, but simply noticing it and becoming aware of our breath, right? Our breath really links us back to that present moment, and having our hands on our thighs helps us to sit up nice and tall so that we're able to draw that breath deep down into our diaphragm, right? We're able to bring ourselves back to that present moment because the breath lives right here and now. It doesn't live in the past or the future. So if we're ever needing to come back to that present moment, we can use our breath to anchor us back into the now. So breathing, helping us really understand. So to start our practice, we're going to begin to focus on some horizontal rib breathing or lateral breathing. So I want us to bring our hands towards that rib cage. I like to point my fingers down towards my hips, but you just use whatever kind of mobility option that you have available for you here today. So I want you to imagine that you're going to breathe into the palms of your hands. You want to try and breathe laterally. We talk about belly breathing normally, and we breathe deep into that belly, filling the belly out and bringing the belly in. And when we're in a stress state, we breathe in that upper respiratory, up in that upper chest. But rarely do we use our ribs and our diaphragm for its intended purpose to breathe out to the sides or horizontally. So beginning to bring your hands to the side. This is going to involve a little bit of cognitive function here, a little bit of firing through our brain. So taking a deep inhale and pressing your ribs into your hands. Exhale, let it go. So as you're inhaling, are you able to draw your ribs out towards the sides, pushing into those hands? And as you exhale, just a little bit of light tension in the hands pressing back into the ribs to create that sensation of that horizontal, almost like an accordion approach to our breathing. So really bringing that awareness into our body, into that felt sense in our body, seeing if we're establishing any tension patterns. Like when you breathe, are your shoulders coming up towards your ears? Are you beginning that shrugging process? Or are you able to keep those shoulders down and back and breathe just into the sides of our palms? Let's do 2 more breaths, just like this. 1 more. Exhale, let it go. Shake out those arms. All right. Let's begin to yoke our breath and our movement together. So we're just going to begin to float our arms side to side. Inhaling, our left arm up high towards the sky, right arm drops. Exhale, let it go. And then we float. Inhale, right arm. Exhale, float it down. So I want you to try and go as much as you can with your own breath here and seeing if you can help your breath to guide you. So don't worry if you're matching my speed or if you're going at your own speed. Allow your breath to guide you in and out, floating side to side in our warm up here. Getting that lateral movement. And just see if maybe you can float your arms a little, or are you drawing them heavy? So can they become light and airy? You got it. Let's do 1 more on each side. And let it go, coming down into our Tadasana. our mountain pose as we're seated here. So our shoulders roll down and back, our palms face forward. So from our Tadasana, or mountain pose, we're going to begin a little bit of a seated chair flow. So we're going to inhale, arms scoop up high towards the sky. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Inhale, hinging at your hips, lean forward, finding seated chair, right? Exhale, swan diving all the way down into our seated chair forward fold. Then we ground our hands on our thighs, our shins, or down onto the ground. You could also ground down onto a yoga block if you have one available here. So your choice. Let's do that again. Inhale, reverse your swan dive. Come all the way up, arms up towards the sky. Exhale, hands down through heart center in our Anjali Mudra. Inhale, shifting forward, lean forward, staying seated on our chair. Exhale, swan dive all the way down, seated forward fold. Inhale, reverse that all the way up. Exhale, down through heart center, hinge forward. Let's try and bring those movements together. Exhale, all the way down. You got it. Do it again. Inhale, reach. Exhale, shifting forward into our chair. Yes. Inhale, reach. Exhale, swan dive down to the ground. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, shifting forward into our seated chair. Inhale, up to reach. Exhale, swan diving forward. Last one. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, hands down through center, hinge forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, swan diving down. Let's hang out in our seated forward fold here. So just take a moment, take the opportunity to ground your hands, allow that head to shake. So can you look side to side? Can you maybe nod at yes and no? Your choice, nod, shake. Can you move that neck? Are your hands grounded on your thighs, your shins, a block, or the ground? Taking the opportunity, checking in with your body, and just beginning to become aware of any sensations that you might notice in your body, any places of tightness, places that we're feeling a little wonky, maybe a little off kilter in. Just bringing some awareness to that place, and maybe we're sending some beautiful inhales into that place or region. Seeing if we can create a little bit more softness, a little bit more space in our body. And inhaling, slowly rolling up 1 vertebrae at a time. Wonderful. Let's take our feet out nice and wide. So we're still seated on our chair. Our toes are turned slightly out. And we're sitting up nice and tall, shoulders rolled down and back. We're going to begin our Kriyas. Our Kriyas are our heat building postures. So we're going to do some moonflowers and some sunflowers here today. So let's inhale, arms scoop up nice and high towards the sky. Exhale, drawing those elbows in towards our sides, finding our moon pose. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, elbows draw into your sides, finding moon. So use your own breath here. You don't have to go at the same speed as myself. You can choose your own breath, your own repetitions. You don't need to go very fast. Just really yoking that breath and that movement, bringing that sensation and awareness into our body, squeezing those elbows in, noticing what that maybe feels like on your shoulder girdle. Bringing that awareness to the feelings in our body. Let's do 2 more. And on the last one, we're going to hold our moon pose in. Hold that moon pose. So can you lift a little bit further, drawing that sternum up towards the sky? Can you pull that belly button in a little tighter? Can you rotate those arms out? Good. Let's begin to work on a little bit of that shoulder rotation as we hold our moon pose. Inhaling, hands, palms come into center. Exhale, rotating out. So just warming up that shoulder rotation here. Right? Our shoulders, our knees, and our hips, those are the joints that we tend to injure the most. So we really want to make sure that we are warming them up, bringing some gentle movement, some range of motion in there. Let's do 2 more. One more. Wonderful. From moon pose, let's inhale, arms scoop up high towards the sky. Exhaling, hinging forward, leaning forward. Scoop the ground. There you go. Up. Exhale, hinge and lean. Beautiful. Sunflowers. We all love flowers, especially in the springtime, and sunflowers are so beautiful. So making sure that you're growing nice and tall, just like a sunflower would, reaching up high towards the sky, sitting up tall. So we're only going into these ranges of motion as feels comfortable and safe for us. So if your postures don't look the same as mine today, that's totally okay. I want you to meet your body with where you're at. There's no requirement for your posture to look the same as mine. Why? Because we have different bodies, right? We're unique human beings. We have that ability to look unique. We come from different backgrounds. We have different injuries and ailments that we might be dealing with today. So just for today, meet your body with where you're at. Let's do 2 more. I'm going to give you lots of options today. And as we exhale down and forward into the lower part of our sunflower, I'm going to bring your hands to your thighs, and I just want you to hinge forward. And now let's see if we can draw that breath into our belly. Can you expand that belly out towards the floor? Inhale. Exhale. So playing around with that belly, can you draw that breath deep? And the nice thing is, with wide knees, we're able to really draw that breath deep into that belly. 2 more. 1 more. Heel toe those feet back in. Let's exhale down and forward into our seated forward fold. Grounding our hands on our thighs, our shins, the floor, a block, whatever feels good to ground down through our hands. And we allow that neck, head, neck, and shoulders to hang and check in. Can I rock side to side? Can I look side to side? Can I nod it forward and back? Yes. Good. Bringing that awareness to our breath, to the feelings that we're having in our body. And inhale, rolling up 1 vertebrae at a time. Let's step our feet out. So we're going to have our right foot that's going to turn out towards the right-hand side of your room. I'm going to scooch that up. And our left foot is going to turn to the right side of the room. So we've got both feet roughly turning to the right side of your room. There's no requirement for them to be exactly straight. So we're just extending to where feels good for us. We're still seated on our chair. So this is going to be our warrior 1. So we're going to turn our torso as far as we can over towards that right leg, trying to mimic it, and bring your hands to our heart center in our Anjali Mudra. If it feels better for you to not have hands at center, you could choose to have your hands on your hips. You could also choose to take those hands above your head. Again, this is your practice, and I want you to really be the driver of your own practice here. You got so many options you get to choose from. So you choose what resonates with you. Standing tall, or seated tall, I should say, in our warrior 1, becoming aware of our breath, noticing the shoulders are engaged down and back, and that heart center draws up. Let's begin to heel toe that left foot, bringing it now parallel with the left side of your room. So the toes begin to face the front of your room. As your right foot, the toes are still facing out towards the right-hand side of the room. As we make it to our warrior 2, we're going to inhale, arms scoop up. We're going to bring that torso back to center, right? Because that torso was over here, and we're now shifting. All right, still seated. I'm going to slide off my chair here is what I feel like. It's sliding backwards on me. Okay, so arms are out, wall to wall. We're in our warrior 2 stance. Bend in that front knee, straight-ish leg on the back leg, right? Straight-ish, the best we can do with where we're at today. Tall, you have those arm options to allow those arms to come down if you need to. Now, if you can you turn that head to look over that right arm? Can you find stillness? Beautiful. Let's drop that right arm down towards our leg. Left arm reaches up high towards the sky. We come into our seated side angle here. So we're not collapsing onto that right side. We want to stay lifted. That heart center is still lifted as that arm's above our head. Now, if it's not available to us to keep that arm above our head, we can bring it around behind our back as long as we're working on that chest opening, right? So you have that option to drop. If you want a little bit more sensation through the front of your left shoulder, it's also okay to drop it behind as well, because that's going to give you a little bit more sensation in the front of that left shoulder. So bringing that heart center forward, sitting up nice and tall in our side angle, any of the armed options that resonate with you, you got it. Breathing, happy smiling faces, not forgetting that we're loving what we're doing here today. Good. Exhale, left arm down. Let's inhale that right arm up high towards the sky, coming into our reverse warrior, right? So now we're getting that extension on both side bodies while our legs are extended out. So our hand is just rested on our leg. It's not applying any pressure. We're reaching up high towards the sky. I want you to imagine like you've got a bunch of helium balloons in your right hand, and that those helium balloons are drawing you up to the sky, but you want to allow that shoulder to stay down. You don't want it to draw you up. So have that shoulder down, draw up through those helium balloons. And if it's available to our head, neck, and shoulders today, we're looking up at that hand that's above us. Now, as you're looking up at your hand, let's pretend that we are in the present moment, right? Because sometimes we start to think about other things. So I want you to really take notice of your hands. What's one thing that you can notice about your hand? What's one thing you've never noticed? Is there something that you can focus on that keeps you in the present moment as you look at your hand? Taking one more inhale here. Exhaling, that hand comes down to our sides. And let's turn both feet this time towards the front. Our feet are nice and wide. So let's bend our knees. Both feet are wide. And we're just going to hinge forward just as we did at the very beginning of class. Hands come to our inner thighs. And we're just going to lean forward. And you can allow that head, neck, and shoulders to drop. So this is our seated straddle forward fold. Paying attention. What does this feel like in my body? What am I noticing? Where am I feeling the stretch? Or am I feeling a stretch is another question, right? Noticing, can you stay planted through all four corners of your feet? Your heels and each side of your toes, right? Can you stay planted? And then slowly rolling up one vertebrae at a time, peeling up. Give yourself a little shake here. Let's go side to side. Okay. This time, let's take that left foot and turn it out towards the left-hand side of your room. The right foot is going to step out to the side and it's going to turn to face the left-hand side of the room. We're going to take our torso and turn it over that left leg, bringing your hands back to heart center in that Anjali Mudra, right? Our mudra of peace. Okay, looking out over that left side body, drawing our awareness into our breath. Right? Any of those hand options that resonated with you the first time, hands on your hips, hands above your head, your choice. Then we begin to heel toe that right foot open, the toes turn to face the front of your room. That leg extends a little wider. We're going to turn our torso back towards the front of the room and inhale, arms sweep up, and we look out over that left hand if it's available to our head, neck, and shoulders. Otherwise, we can keep a neutral neck. That is totally okay. Again, meeting your body with where you're at today. Every day is a different day and you never know how you're going to feel. So really pay attention and meet yourself with where you're at today. So we're looking out over that left arm in our warrior two. Breathing and really beginning to take notice. Is there something that you can focus on that left-hand side of your room? Option to drop that right arm behind you. As we shift down, that left arm comes down. We open up that chest into our side angle. You also have that option to have that arm above your head. And making sure that we're not collapsing down into the side angle. We're staying lifted. Chest is lifting. We're just bringing that arm down here and bringing it up. If you really wanted to, you could bring that arm down in front rather than resting it on your thigh. Again, your practice, totally up to you, and you have that option to drop that right arm behind you, either to let go of the sensation of it in the air or to find a greater sensation through the front side of your right shoulder. Your choice. Continuously rotating open, breathing, noticing your breath, noticing all four corners of your feet. Can you wiggle your toes? Checking in, right? Seeing what else is going on in this body of ours. Let's inhale those arms back up to center. Inhale, lift. Left arm up high towards the sky, right arm comes back onto that back leg. Now it's not pressing onto that leg. It is simply rested on that leg as we're drawing up through heart center, lifting up through our torso, watching that that left shoulder isn't creeping up towards your ear. It's dropped down into that spine. And if it's available to our head, neck, and shoulders, we begin to look up at that left hand. Now, bringing your awareness back to that present moment, can you notice something about your left hand? Is there something familiar? Is there something unfamiliar? What can you do to help your focus stay here on the present moment? Breathing. And inhale, let it go, and shake it out. Let's wiggle those feet back in a little bit. Let's turn both feet to face forward, and let's come into our seated straddle forward fold. Both feet are forward and wide, and we're just gonna hinge forward here. If it feels better to you, you can come down a little further. You could grab onto your shins. You could come down to the ground, whatever feels good for you. So finding that option that resonates with you, where you can ground through your hands on your thighs, shins, floor, block, and allow that forehead to sink down and forward in our seated straddle forward fold. And let's slowly begin to roll up one vertebrae at a time. Wonderful. Okay, feet coming back into center. Let's begin to just create some figure eights with our hands, right? We're working on that rotation through our shoulders. So letting the thumbs guide us, can you make a figure eight with your hands? Yes, we got it. Okay, well, let's begin to bring a little bit more motion into our shoulders. Let's inhale, arms sweep out wide. Can you step your right foot out to the side? We're gonna start using both sides of our brain. As we exhale, that right foot steps in, the right arm crosses over our body. We give ourselves a little hug. We're coming into flight of the birds. Inhale, this time our left foot steps out to the side. Right, our arms open nice and wide. And as we come back through center, our left hand crisscrosses over our right. We give ourselves a little hug. Inhale, right arm, right leg open. Exhale, right arm crisscrosses. Good. Inhale, this time left side steps out. Left side crisscrosses. Let's do a couple more, right? Left. Again, right. And left. Give yourself that hug. Shake it out, forward and back. All right. Did you know that your brain actually doesn't know the difference between a hug from someone else or a hug from yourself? I know, that's just crazy. It's mind-blowing to me as well. So that is why it's so important that we allow ourselves that chance to give ourselves that hug, to get those feel-good endorphins that you get when you give somebody a nice, big, tight squeeze. Okay, so going with our bird theme, right? We took flight with our Flight of the Birds. Now we're going to begin to bring that bird theme into our balance posture. So this is our posture that's a little bit more tricksy. Now we're not going to stand up and try and balance. We're going to do this all seated in a chair, not to worry, but this is normally a very tricksy posture. So you can choose to do just the legs or just the arms. At no point do you need to do both, and meet yourself with where you're at. Again, I said it's tricksy, so if you're finding a little difficult, that's totally normal and totally okay. Just keep trying, and when you fall out or you maybe don't quite get it all the way, just keep trying. That's all I ask. Get right back into it using that yogi strength and that yogi determination. So to start, we're going to go into eagle posture. So picking up your right leg, we're going to crisscross it over that left leg, keeping both sit bones on your seat. So if you're noticing that you're rotating like this, maybe you've crisscrossed it too far. Bring it back. You could also choose to extend that leg out nice and long and crisscross at your ankles. Your choice. The idea is that we're crossing that midline of the body. So I'm going to crisscross up here. If your leg is crisscrossed up here, you want to point your toes in the direction that we want them to go. So eventually we want those toes to wrap around our calf. So really beginning to point them in the direction that we want them to go, giving your inner thighs a nice squeeze. We're going to inhale, arms sweep overhead. So you can choose to stop with just the legs. You can choose to not do the legs and just do the arms. We're going to exhale, right arm under our left arm, sweeping, scooping, and we're trying to grab onto both hands. Now, eventually coming into a prayer position, but right now this is where I'm at. So I'm like grabbing onto my thumb for dear life. You can see it back here. But if you're just here, that's okay. We can be just here. You do not have to grab on. Again, we're moving our arms and our legs in the direction that we want them to go. Okay, so now we're here in our eagle. From here, we're going to raise our elbows, drawing them up towards the sky, lifting our hands a little higher, sitting up a little taller. So I'm just going to shift to the side so that you can see what I look like from the side, okay? Because I know that you're probably wondering, oh my gosh, what does that look like from the side? So from the side, looks like this. We're going to sit up taller, reaching those elbows up taller. Yes. So in that eagle posture, we are pointing our toes where they want to go. And we're lifting and sitting up nice and tall. And now we're breathing, seeing if you can find a little bit of grace, a little bit of space in each breath. And in this posture, can you find some stillness? Can you find a happy smiling face? And some enjoyment, some relaxation, some opening through our shoulders, some tensing through our abdomen and core to help us sit up nice and tall. That strength that we're building. And exhale, let it go. Shake it out. Shake it out. Okay. And turn back so that you can see me. Okay. Shake, 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 shake. Okay. What we do to one side, we must do to the other. So let's do the other side. Taking that left leg, let's scoop it up and over that right leg. Same thing. So we want to check in. Are our hips in one line? Is my foot out to the side, or do I maybe need to bring my feet down at my ankles, crossing that midline in one way, shape, or form, meeting our body with where we're at today? Squeezing those inner thighs, we're pointing our toes in the direction that we eventually want them to go, because eventually we want to scoop them in behind that calf. I'm not really ready for that quite yet, obviously. Inhale, arms sweep up high towards the sky, and this time our left arm is going to scoop under our right arm. Oh, this side's a little easier, at least for me. Maybe it's harder for you, and that's okay. We're not comparing. So we're sitting up nice and tall, reaching those arms up a little higher, drawing those shoulder blades back, and just checking in with your body. How does your eagle posture look now, right? Can you see me on either side of my arms? Yeah. Can you move your head? Can you lift your shoulders up? Can you point your toes down towards the ground? There's so much to think about. But then, on top of all of those things, can you find your breath? Can you find that little bit of space, that little bit of relaxation in the posture that we find challenging? One more breath here. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. Shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. I know that was lots. Okay, let's do a little bit more heat building before we really begin to release way further through those hips. So there's a little bit of a chant. It's called Hari Om. And so with Hari Om, instead we're going to change it to an I am statement. So we're going to create that affirmation. So something that maybe you're working on or that you want to become. So I'm going to say I am present because we're really talking about being in the present moment here today. But maybe yours is I am strong, I am grounded. There's lots of different things that you can do. So we're going to take those feet out hip width. We're going to inhale, arms up. We're going to say I, arms come down to your sides, am, hands come to your inner thighs, strong. I am present, right? You pick your word that you want to insert in there. I am present. I am strong. I am present. I am strong. Two more. I am present. I am strong. Bringing it back to center. Did you notice a change in your state? Did that make you feel good? Did it make you feel powerful? Right? Sometimes all we need to do is come into power pose, right? Hands come to your hips. Inhale, lifting through heart center, sitting up nice and tall and just taking the opportunity to check in and breathe here in this variation of mountain, which I like to call power pose, right? We feel powerful, like a superhero flying through the air. Sitting up tall in your power pose, checking in. How does this posture make you feel? And exhale, let it go. Okay, we're gonna take our right foot, crisscross it up onto our left knee. Now, if this is not available to us today, same thing as with the eagle posture. You can extend that left leg and crisscross at the ankle. What we're wanting is that rotation through that right hip. So we want that hip to open up. And all we're going to do is lean forward. So depending on where you're at in your mobility, your right ankle is going to be somewhere located on that left leg. Now, if you had a yoga strap or a scarf, you could wrap it around that ankle and you could hold on to it with that left arm to help keep it wherever it is that you would like to have it. So from here, from the seated position, we're just going to hinge forward. And what you should notice is a little bit of tension on the backside of your glutes in your hip rotators. And that's where we're really focusing on feeling the stretch today. So breathing into that stretch, feeling it, noticing it. Bringing awareness into those sensations. And exhale, let it go. Okay, so before we go into the left side, we're going to take our right hand over to our right hip or even grabbing onto the back of the chair, your choice. But I'm going to go with hip. Right hand to right hip. Left hand to right knee. Inhaling, lifting through heart center. Exhale, twisting, looking over to that right hand side of your room. Coming into our seated spinal twist. And if it's available to us today, we can take that head and look over that right shoulder. The most important thing is sitting up nice and tall and twisting towards that right hand side of the room. And slowly coming back through center, slowly unraveling. Give yourself a little shake. Let's do the other side this time. Taking our left foot, let's lift it up onto our right knee. Again, same thing. You could use a strap or a scarf around your ankle and holding it in with your right arm. You could choose to crisscross at the ankle, maybe at the shin, your choice on wherever that feels good to you. Working with the mobility with where we're at here today. Inhaling, lifting through heart center. Exhale, hinging forward from our hips. Feeling that stretch into our hip rotators right on the backside of those glutes. Feeling that nice, beautiful stretch in through those hip rotators and breathing into it, seeing if you can find a little bit more space in your hips. Having one more breath here. And exhale, slowly letting it go. Okay, so we're gonna take that left hand, bringing it onto your left hip. Right hand up and over to that left knee. Inhaling, lifting through heart center. Exhale, rotating over to that left hand side of the room. If it's available to us today, we look out over that left shoulder, rotating, twisting towards that left. Finding that breath, lifting and twisting, making sure that we're not just pushing on our legs to force the twist. We want to have that twist come from our center, coming from that torso. There we go. And slowly, slowly unraveling, coming back to center. Let's give those arms a little in and out, a little figure eight action. You've got it. Feeling super good. Let's stretch through those hamstrings. So our hamstrings, or the backside of our legs, tends to get nice and tight. So I'm going to extend that leg out, pulling, drawing those toes back towards my face. From here, I'm hinging at my hips. I'm going to reach and extend my arms out and forward. So you should feel that stretch up the backside of your leg, maybe into your calf, maybe into your hamstring. Reaching, stretching. Noticing what that feels like to draw those toes back towards your nose. If it's too much for your arms, you can allow them to rest down onto your leg. You just don't want to be pushing on that knee, right? We want to have the rest onto the leg or arms up. And exhale, let it go. Okay, so this time we're going to do the left side. Left side, foot extends. We sit up nice and tall. We're going to hinge from those hips, reaching forward. Drawing those toes back towards our nose, right? Toes to nose. There you go. You've got it. Reach that arms forward. If we need to, we can rest the hands on our thighs. Your choice. Beautiful. Drawing it back in. Give your arms a little shake. Checking in. How does that feel? Okay, so we're going to stretch out our head, neck, and shoulder region. So we're going to take our right hand, we're going to bring it behind us, and we're going to grab it with our left hand, pulling it on through. Okay, if it's not available for us to grab, we just reach that arm as far as we can behind us. From here, we're taking our left ear, and we're dropping it down towards our left shoulder. So left ear to left shoulder, right arm is behind your back. So you should be feeling a nice stretch down the side of your neck on your right side. So if you're a person that suffers from migraines or any style of headaches, I'm going to show you the next two positions with your head are really, really helpful for easing those headache symptoms. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that head and we're going to turn it down as if we're going to smell or look at that left armpit, right? We're just turning that head down. So ear coming up, chin coming towards that shoulder. Noticing how that changed the sensation in the stretch in your neck. Inhaling, coming back, ear to shoulder. And from here, you're going to just lift your chin up to the sky a little bit. So chin up. You should feel that stretch come into the front of our neck here. And a little bit more through that jawline. But the ear is still over towards the shoulders, just lifting that chin slightly. Breathing. And slowly coming back up through center. Let it go, let that right arm out. Okay, left arm this time, same thing, comes behind our back. We're going to grab onto our wrist with our right hand, pulling it on through. We're taking, this time our right ear is dropping down towards our right shoulder. And we're stretching, feeling that nice, beautiful stretch in through our neck. Feeling and noticing what that feels like. And then we take our chin and we draw it down towards that shoulder or armpit on the right hand side, changing the dynamic of the stretch just slightly. Bringing that chin back up, ear coming down towards your shoulder. And this time we lift our chin up to the sky. Ear still staying down towards that right shoulder, but chin lifts, changing the dynamic of the stretch. Finding that breath, beginning to breathe. Finding that awareness and sensation in that breath. One more breath here. Drawing that ear back down towards your shoulder and let it go. Shake it out. Okay, so we've stretched out our neck. Now time to stretch out that chest. We're going to do 2 different stretches for the front of our chest. We're going to inhale, reaching those arms nice and wide, bending at the elbows. We draw those elbows in, fingers towards the outside. You should feel a nice stretch through the front of your chest. Noticing what that feels like. Maybe we choose to bring our feet into a butterfly's position here. Working on that hip rotation a little. Up to you. You can keep your feet here or you can keep here. Your choice. Reaching. Breathing. Lifting up through that sternum, drawing up through heart center. Exhale, let it go. Everything coming back into that midline. Beautiful. Hands coming around. So I'm going to turn so that you can see me better here. Our hands are going to come onto the back of our chair. Grabbing onto the back of your chair, we're going to inhale, lifting up through our sternum, drawing those shoulder blades. So we're drawing them around and back, lifting up through the sternum, coming into a really gentle back bend here. Keeping that chin tucked. So we don't want to drop that head back. We want to keep that chin slightly tucked. We call this our Jalandhara Bandha, and that's essentially our throat lock is what we call it. So it's allowing that head, neck, and shoulders to stay in a nice neutral alignment, and we're keeping that almost like a ball of yarn underneath our chin is how tucked we're keeping it as we're getting that extension through the front side of the body, and we're lifting up and over a beach ball as we draw those shoulder blades back. Lifting up nice and tall. Taking one more breath here. And then exhale, coming down and forward into your seated forward fold. We're grounding onto our thighs, our shins, or down onto the floor. You could also ground down onto a yoga block. Allow that head, neck, and shoulders to let go. Can you rock your head side to side, forward and back? Finding that little bit of neck mobility here. You've got it. And then slowly beginning to roll up. One vertebrae at a time. Give those shoulders a little roll. You've got it. Okay. So we're going to bring our focus and our awareness back to our breath. So coming back into that hero pose with our hands onto our knees, sitting up nice and tall. And we just begin to check in with our body from our practice here today. So beginning to draw that awareness inside. And for some of us, that means softening our gaze. For some of us, that might mean closing our eyes. It's whatever feels good and comfortable to you. So if we're softening our gaze, we're finding a point of focus. We call that a drishti in yoga, right? It's something to focus on. Maybe you can find a spot on the floor or on a wall just to allow your eyes to softly blur. Or maybe we're closing our eyes and beginning to draw the awareness inward and just noticing our breath and noticing any physical sensations going on in our body. We're going to bring our right hand to our chest and our left hand to our belly. And let's begin to focus on the energy between our hands. How does that energy feel? How does your breath feel? Can you feel your breath as it hits each hand? Can you draw that awareness into your breath, into the palms of your hands? And taking that left hand from your belly, we're going to bring it up to the forehead. Noticing the point of energy between both hands yet again, but just in a different space. Can you feel the energy between your hands? Can you draw that awareness into your breath? Can you draw your breath into your forehead, into your chest, into your belly? Can you make all 3 points match up with that breath? Bringing that left hand back down to your belly, drawing that awareness from hand to hand. Can you keep that awareness with your breath going from your forehead, your chest, your belly, and connecting all 3 regions? Feeling the love and the vibrant force of energy flowing through your body. Taking a moment here to practice some gratitude. Being thankful for yourself, for this practice, for your breath, for the beautiful life that you have. Whatever it is that you are grateful for here today, take a moment and bring that feeling of gratitude into your awareness. Notice what that feeling of gratitude truly feels like and allow it to fill your entire being. And as that feeling of gratitude fills your body, a giant smile begins to creep up onto your face. And as you're grinning from ear to ear, being full of gratitude, just simply noticing how grateful you are to be here today, how grateful you are to be present in this moment and truly experiencing the joy and the happiness that we're feeling right here, right now. Thank you so much for joining me here in this yoga practice today. The light in me bows and honors the light in you. Namaste.